holiday recipe project was the one that we just completed. And so in that, students are tasked with partnering up and creating their own recipe from scratch. They're not allowed to like look up their grandma's recipe or find something online. They have to, they can look for reference, but then they come up with a whole new recipe that they've made themselves. They also have a budget, and CALS actually funded our beef. And so we worked with James over at Vandal Brand Meats, who's the manager in charge of everything wonderful over there, and he was amazing. He took time out of his schedule, he came into class, he went over all the cuts of beef with the students, and then they said their ideas to him, and he told them like, these 3 would be your best choice, these 2 are most cost efficient, do some research and pick one of those. So it was wonderful that he made the time to come and do that with us.
So our recipe is the Vandal Beef Wreath. The outside of it is croissant rolls that are then folded over after you stuff everything. The inside we had a layer of refried black beans, we had some seasoned ground beef, a little bit of cheese sprinkled on top, taco mix cheese, some roasted or sauteed bell peppers, and then all of it was just nicely and neatly rolled in. And then inside to serve with it, we had pico de gallo and guacamole. So when I first was driving onto the U of I campus, there was this one car that I saw that had this bumper sticker that said, "I bleed black and gold." And I remember giggling and thinking, well, then you need to go to the doctor. That's not a good sign. And so when we were trying to wrap around how are we gonna present this within the Vandal theme, it was late one night and that bumper sticker popped into mind, and I was like, that is what our Vandal Beef Wreath does, is when you cut into it, you have the gold cheese bleeding along with the black beans. And so I was like, perfect, our Vandal Beef Wreath bleeds black and gold, and I don't know how you can get more Vandal than that, personally.
I think another point with that is that our recipe is pretty convenient. Like, it's not over the top difficult, and it's even something like if you're with your family and there are like even smaller children, there are a lot of steps that they can help with in the process of making this recipe. And so I think it was also with the judges is they probably saw it as something they could do with their family during the holidays.
You eat first with your eyes. I would say it's more than 50% of what the taste is. If you look at something and it's not visually pleasing, you're automatically turned off. And even if it's the most delicious thing ever, you're gonna be like, I think it could have looked better, and then I would have enjoyed it more. And so with the students, it was really fun, and we did this a lot during their 3 parts of testing, where I suggested to them that they make things in multiple different ways and then see what they like best. And often it's something that you think is gonna be really weird, turns out to be your favorite one. And so like with our potato pancakes, we're making circles because that's what you normally do. And then they were like, we don't really feel like this fits Idaho. And so I was like, okay, well, make it a shape that is like Idaho. Well, they took that literally and they just made Idaho shapes, which was so adorable, though. It turned out looking beautiful. And so it really is a lot of plating, is a lot of thinking outside the box and just making everything and trying it a million different ways, looking at it, maybe taking pictures and coming back to it. It's a big process. That is definitely a big part of the art of culinary arts.
Okay, the funny thing is we were both running late that morning, so everybody else was going hardcore, and then we came strolling in and we were like, oh, we need to like get a move on. So I think that the adrenaline from needing to pick it up for sure made it feel like a cooking show, which was kind of fun. I liked that pressure feeling. And then also just giggling about the fact that it could all be destroyed any minute, like in a cooking show, like when we're transferring it to the big plate, and the fact of like if we were to drop it on the floor, we'd be done. And that's just how the cookie crumbles, and we just hope that didn't happen.
And to go along with that, when we were like running late, Jacqueline texted me and she's like, I'm gonna be like 5 minutes late. And I'm like, I am too. And I was like on my way. So we were both late together, which was kind of perfect anyway. But once we were here and like kind of suited up in our like white lab coats and everything, and everyone like looked the same and all professional, and then they were all cooking and getting really intense and into it, then it really kind of like hits, and it's like, oh, this is a competition. And it kind of does feel like a cooking show.
2 days before, I was telling her, don't try very hard, we don't really stand a chance of winning, because the team that was at this workstation had the best okay, it wasn't, we won, so it probably wasn't the best, but it was very good because it was, I don't know what cut of meat it was, but it was like a flatter steak cut. I don't know what you'd call that.
Sure.
And then they stuffed it with an apple sort of like filling and then rolled it up and then tied it with these beautiful strings and then paired it with probably potatoes of some sort and had this amazing, it was a honey whiskey sauce. And that tasted, oh, that was glorious. It tasted so good. They were here on time too. They were going hard.
It's like, I don't think people think of tacos when they think of like holiday recipe. I think it's normally like, especially for Idaho families, it's like mashed potatoes and gravy and like, you know, standard like chicken or like ham or something like along those lines, or maybe even a steak like many of the students did. Even though I thought our recipe was great and I thought it tasted amazing, I just didn't know if it like screamed like traditional family holiday recipe. So
it did bring confidence in terms of the program of feeling like I do belong here, but it did solidify the fun of being in this program because there's other people that love cooking, there's other people that love tasting good food and just talking about how amazing it tastes. Those are my kind of people, and so I like being in this program, and that competition really helped seal that for me.
yeah, it was exciting winning. I think our presentation and everything went really well, and I think that helped us as well because our food tasted good and we presented it very professionally. But it's a confidence booster.
It's a big deal for a lot of different ways. For the first part, it's a recognition of these students with their names put on what they've created, being sent out to a giant community of people who have attended the university and are still affiliated with the university. And so it is really showing them off. And it also shows off our department and what we're doing. And I think a lot of times, you know, we're out here on like the annex of campus and a lot of people don't know about our lab or about what we do up here. And we have some of the most talented students I've ever worked with. They are so smart and so creative and just brilliant people who are gonna do wonderful things, that it's a really amazing experience that we get to show off their work to the community, and hopefully more people can come be involved with us and our program and be our future students that get their names put on the president's card as the winners.
Our recipe will end up in the president's holiday card, so both of our moms will get it. My mom's pretty excited. I bet it will end up on the fridge in all of its glory. And then I will actually be making it this coming holiday. We're headed over to see my brother and sister-in-law, and they're all pretty stoked about it. They enjoy a good taco too. My dad was most excited about tasting it, so I'm excited to let him know how it all comes together.